and welcome to Group 34's video walkthrough. The first piece that we'll be walking through is the GUI we built for the different functionality of the application. Now, when you first get to the GUI, the first piece you'll see is this modal that's up. And this was one of the new considerations and new features we implemented in our system, which is privacy. And with privacy comes authentication. So in order to actually use the GUI, you'll have to be logged in as a user. And there are two different types of users, regular users and admin users. So if you click sign up, you'll have the sign up form. And an admin user has all read and write functionalities, and a regular user can only read the data. We'll be going through each example, but first we'll start as an admin user so we can actually add some data to our application. So you can go ahead and make any account. Here I'm going to do admin test 2. My user ID is admin, name is admin, it really doesn't matter. Password, we're just going to do test, and the role is going to be admin. You click sign up, and then you'll be logged in. This is just from Google Chrome. You could ignore that if it comes up on your screen as well. Now, the actual user will persist. So if you were to refresh this data, refresh the web application, you will see that you are still logged in. Okay, we are now logged in and ready to create some data. So the first piece we'll go over are demographics. There's also studios, streams, events, and offers, and we'll be going through each one. So in the demographics, the first thing we could do is we can create a demographic. So click the create demographic button, and I'm going to be using the same data that we had for assignment 3. So the short name I'll give it is age 40, 50. The long name is going to be viewers between 40 and 50. And for the number of accounts, we'll do 800 accounts. So if we hit submit. Now after submitting any changes to either create or edit, which we'll get into a little bit, you'll have to click the refetch button that's on every single page. So once you click refetch, we'll refetch the data, and now we have the demographic group we created. As you can see, we're also displaying the current period cost for this demographic group, previous period cost, and the total cost associated. So next thing we'll do, actually before we go to studios, let's say we wanted to change the number of accounts with this demographic. We can go to edit demographic here. We can select which demographic we want to edit. We only have one right now. And we can change the number of accounts, let's say, to 600. And because this demographic group hasn't watched any events yet, we can still edit them. So if we hit update, again, we have to just click this refetch button, and then we can see the number of accounts here has been updated to 600. Great. So now let's move on to studios. If we click studios, we can go ahead and we can create a studio. So let's give the studio a short name. We can call the studio Disney, and the long name will be Walt Disney Animation Studios. Let's submit. Again, let's click the refetch button, and we can see our studio created. Great. So now let's create an event for the studio. So if we go to events, we right now have no events. We can create an event. First, you have to choose the type of event that it is. This is going to be a movie. The name is going to be Mulan. The year produced is 1998. The duration is 88 minutes. The license fee is going to be $1,000. And the studio we select from a dropdown is going to be Walt Disney Animation Studios. So again, click submit. This gets submitted to our backend, which gets saved in Elasticsearch database. If we click refresh, we can now see the event here. Excellent. So now we're going to make one more event. And in order to make the event, let's make one more studio for ESPN. So let's create another studio. It's going to be ESPN. And the long name, entertainment. Sports Network. I think that's what ESPN stands for. Hit submit. Refetch. Great. Now we have two different studios. So if we go back to events, now let's create a pay-per-view event. So this time we'll select pay-per-view. The name will be Monaco. Oh, actually 30 for 30 Monaco. The year produced will be 2020. The duration is going to be 106 minutes. The license fee is going to be $3,300. And the studio will be Entertainment Sports Network. Now we hit submit. And we refetch the data. And we have two different events here. Great. So now we want to create a stream so these events can be seen. So if we go to streams now, let's create a stream here. And the stream name is going to be Amazon Prime Video, or the short video name is going to be APV, Amazon Prime Video. And the subscription price is going to be $12. So let's hit submit. Let's refetch the data. Great, so now we have Amazon Prime Video, and we can edit the stream if it hasn't been viewed yet. So if we click Edit Stream, we can select the stream we want to edit, Amazon Prime Video, and let's say we want the subscription price to actually be $9. So we can do Edit Update. Excellent. Now let's hit Refetch, and we can see the subscription price here has changed to $9. All right, so now we have a demographic, we have a studio, we have a stream, and we have an event. So now let's say we want to offer a movie or offer a pay-per-view. For that, we can click Offers. And here we can click Offer Event. And the stream that is going to offer this event is going to be, we want Amazon Prime Video. And the event is going to be Mulan. So we click Submit. Great, now we have an offer. Mulan, 1998. The stream is Amazon Prime Video, the studio is Disney, and the type is movie. So now we can actually go ahead and watch an event in a demographic. So if we go back to demographics, we can click Watch Event, and we can say that the viewers between 40 and 50. The offered event is Mulan, 1998 on Amazon Prime Video, and the percent who watches the event, let's just say, is 40%. So if we create a watched event, it takes just a second, we can refetch, and now we can see the cost associated with this demographic group for the current period. Now this gets into our configurability piece, and how the date can be changed to go either backwards in time, forwards in time, or stay where we are. So for example, if we were to jump to May, we can see that the current period cost is 0. The previous period cost is $2,160, and so is the total cost. And also the date gets persisted up here in the URL bar. So if we refresh the page, it will stay on May 2021. And now if we go to June, we can see that the current period cost and previous period cost update accordingly to 0. And the total is still $2,160. Now if we go back before April, or let's say to February 2021, we see that because that watched event happened after February 2021, the current period cost is 0, the previous period cost is 0, and the total cost is 0. Excellent. So now we've gone through demographics, we've gone through studios, we've gone through streams, we've gone through events, and we've gone through offers. One other piece I wanted to discuss on events is that we can actually edit an event. So let's say we wanted to edit the pay-per-view for 30 for 30. We can click Edit Event, choose our pay-per-view, and the licensing fee is what could change, nothing else. So the licensing fee here, let's say we wanted to change it from $3,300 to $4,000. I click Update. Now we refetch. And now 30 for 30 is at $4,000 license fee. Another piece I wanted to demonstrate is being able to retract a movie, which is one of the new functionalities of Assignment 6. So if we are in the admin account again, and we go to an event, so let's create a new event. let's say this is going to be Toy Story. It was produced in 1998, I believe. We'll just say it's 2 hours. License fee is $1,000, and it was created by Disney. So if we hit submit, we see that Toy Story was created. Now let's go to offers. Now the event being offered is going to be, it's going to be offered by Amazon Prime, and the event is going to be Toy Story. So if we hit submit, we could see that Toy Story is now being offered. And now if we decide we no longer want to offer Toy Story and no demographic groups have watched it yet, we can click retract and then refresh, and then it will be removed from the table. Discuss is if we were a regular user. So now we're on demographics, and if we log out, we can see that the username on the nav bar disappeared, and so did the different buttons for creating and editing. So now let's sign up with a regular user. So we'll say regular user at gmail.com, reg user, test again for the password, and the role is going to be regular this time. So if we click sign up, we get logged back in. We can now see that we're a regular user up here in the nav bar. And now if we click into each one of these, we could see that those create buttons, the edit buttons, and so on have now been removed. So as a regular user, you are free to visit the different pages, but you can't actually take any actions.
To the part 2 of the demonstration of the backend. On the left, I have a web application called Kibana that is provided by Elasticsearch to query Elasticsearch with easiness. And on the right, I have Postman, from where I'll be executing my API calls to create and update data in the backend. And I will be using Kibana to show you the data actually being created in Elasticsearch. So the very first thing I want to talk about is an extra step towards the extendability, that where our team went, decided, and implemented it. So on the top, if you notice, we have a bunch of indices that we have created. Indices in NoSQL are the tables in the SQL database. And in the middle, I have some aliases. These aliases are, we can consider them as a nickname to these indices or the tables on the top. So the idea is our backend will be using these aliases to access the tables, and which will be pointing to these indices on the top. So the thing is, let's say on runtime, for any reason, we want to drop or create a new table, or we want to create a modification to the table. So our backend application Spring Boot should not know that. What we will do on the runtime is we will just create a new demographic group with a version 2, and we will point this alias to the version 2, so our application would not know anything at the back. So extendability there. Now let me go ahead and show you some of the APIs that we have created for our backend. So very first one is create demo, and this API call is as similar to assignment 3 documentation. So here I will send the request, and I will see the demographic group created in the IDX demographic group version 1. So here the demographic group is created with 800 accounts. Next, what we'll do is we'll create a studio, and let me actually create a studio with name Disney, and just say the Disney is being created, as I don't know the long name of it. So I'll just create something. So create studio, let's see. Yep, the studio is created. As we can see, short name Disney, long name, the Disney is being created. So the next API call we have is create event. We will create a movie called Mulan, which was produced in year 1998. Duration was 120 minutes, and the licensing fee for this is 150. And the studio that it was produced by is Disney. So I will create an event, and I got a true. In the event, we will see this is created. Next, I'll go to stream, creating the streaming service called Amazon Prime Video, the short name is APV, with a subscription price 15. Send, got a true. Here we have the streaming service created. Next, let me offer the movie now since the service is created. Here, streaming service APV, that is Amazon Prime Video, is trying to offer the movie. The event name is Mulan, which was produced in 1998. And the month that streaming service wants to offer this movie is in April. So we're sending it. Got a true. So here the event offering is created. Next we will go and try to watch the movie which was created in the streaming service. So demographic group age 40 to 50 is trying to access the movie from APV. The event name is Mulan 1998. 30% of the demographic groups, which was 800 originally, wants to watch the movie in the month of April. So we will send, and yep, we watch the movie. We'll go back to the demographic groups, and where we just saw the plain accounts previously, we're now seeing the subscription is subscribed for the month of April to APV. The watched event was this. The cost paid by the demographic group was 15, and so forth and so on. The next API that we have is retract movie. We will try to retract this movie since this movie is watched, so it should not be retracted. So sent, and we got a false. And just to show this, I will come to retract movies just in a bit to demonstrate that. The next API we have is display demo. We want to see the status of display of demographic group, yeah, all the demographic group in the month of April. So I'm going to send here, and I'll see the short name age 40 to 50 has a current period of $3,600 that this demographic group has spent on watching the movies. The size is 800. Previous month was 0. The total revenue is yet 0 because, as per the assignment says, now I'll change the month from April to May, and we will see the current period will become the past period. And yep, the current period is 0. The previous period is 3,600. Now, as I mentioned before, to demo this retract movie, I will create one more movie again. So let me go back to create an event, and I will call this event as Titanic. And Titanic was produced in year 2000, and the movie duration, Titanic was a big long movie, so I'm gonna call it 180 minutes, and it was a $500 licensing fee, and it was produced by a studio name I don't know, so I'll just keep it same. Okay, yep, event is created. We will double check in the database. Yep, event is created, Titanic is there. Now times to offer this movie. So the event name is Titanic. Year produced is 2000. It is being offered in April 2021. Created. Let's go to streaming service, and we saw, yep, Titanic is there. Now we're not gonna watch it, and we will try to retract it. So this is Titanic, and the event year is 2000. Sent, and I got a true. Let's refresh this, and yep, Titanic is gone. Thank you very much for watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Finally, our last area of focus is scalability. In order to scale our application, we must hit an endpoint that distributes the load across multiple instances. In our case, this endpoint is defined by the Kubernetes service Streaming Wars backend. When this service is hit, it will redirect the request to any of the active instances in the Streaming Wars backend deployment. Here we see 2 backend instances, and they have these IPs ending in 04 and 05. And if we take a look at the Streaming Wars backend service in detail, the service lists the 2 IPs it will redirect the request to, and we see those here. Finally, let's give it a shot and hit the endpoint to see it in action. So we see that the verbose curl command tells us where our request is being sent, and it is being indeed sent to the Streaming Wars backend service, which will then forward it on to the appropriate backend instances.